Hello, my loves. Welcome to another episode of the Body Love Binge podcast with me, Victoria. This is the third Q&A that I've done today. So if you're listening or watching back to back, then you might already be getting bored of hearing me say, welcome to the Body Love Binge podcast with me, Victoria. However, thank you for being here whenever you are here. I really appreciate you so much. And I want to share with you about a free 5-day body love binge experience that I have coming up from the 9th to the 13th of November. It's going to be in a private group and we're going to be meeting on Zoom, and I'm going to be doing trainings for the whole 5 days. It's going to be very interactive and jam-packed full of value. And I offer this with love, completely free. So join us. The link is below. And the last question that I wanted to do a Q&A on today with the podcast is how to deal with the fear of fullness, especially going to bed full. And I love this question because I used to have a huge fear of fullness. I can't even describe it in words. It was a horrible feeling to feel food inside my tummy. And this went right back to the days when I was anorexic, to the point where I wouldn't even drink water. I don't even know how I'm still alive, to be honest. But I had that much of an aversion to having anything inside my tummy. I even hated drinking water, anything that filled me up, or even had something that felt like something was inside my tummy. It was like a trauma response. It was horrible. So this has taken a long time for me to work through, but I've kind of done it by myself and through learning and training and all of that. So I want to share with you my experience and how to deal with this. And it's very uncomfortable to work through this, but it's absolutely possible. And now I don't have any aversion or any fear around being full at all. So it is so possible. So I want to address this question by starting off by asking you, what is underneath the fear of fullness? Because it's not actually the physical feeling of feeling full, it's what you make that fullness mean. So if you imagine those Russian dolls, those dolls where you've got the big doll and you take a doll out and there's a smaller doll, etc. I love using this analogy to find the root emotion and the root cause of what we're feeling. And so if you imagine the outside big Russian doll as the fear of fullness, what's underneath, what's inside the fear of fullness? Let's play with this. So let's say perhaps the fear of fullness is the first one. The second one is the fear of feeling fat. I mean, fat isn't a feeling, but we know what we mean when we say that. And then underneath, what does that mean, feeling fat? It could be a case of feeling disgusting, feeling ugly, feeling physically unattractive. And then underneath that could be not feeling good enough, not feeling loved, not feeling safe, not feeling wanted. So technically, if you look at where we've gone there, I mean, I advise you to do this for yourself. The first fear of feeling full, actually what you're saying when you feel full is, I feel unworthy and unlovable and there's something wrong with me and I feel unsafe to feel full, because it's not the fullness itself, it's what you make the fullness mean. So it's really important to get clear with yourself to understand why you have the fear of fullness. And then in terms of the fear you have, the fear of fullness, you've trained your brain over time due to all the past chronic dieting and restriction and everything that you've made fullness mean, because you've been taught that it is bad since birth, not necessarily fullness, but anything to do with your belly sticking out or any fat around your tummy. It's mirrored back to us in society countless times, that a flat belly, there's all the advertising shit about having a flat tummy and all of that. I mean, God forbid we have a tummy and we're women and we have a womb and organs, and your tummy isn't supposed to be like a washboard, right? It's just a part of who you are. And so we're conditioned to think and believe that having a flat tummy or an empty stomach is good. So it's understanding where all that conditioning has come from, of course. But there's a reason you have that fear there. And everyone has a different spectrum to this fear of fullness, that you could be on one end or the other end, which is what I'm speaking to today, that intense fear of feeling full. This is what I want to speak to today. So you've trained your brain to fear fullness because of everything that you make fullness mean. So I mentioned this on a podcast earlier, I think the first or the second one, whichever one it was, about your brain being a tool, being an organ, like your kidneys or your liver or your heart, they're organs. Your mind is not the same thing as your brain. Your mind is the conscious part of you that gets to choose. When psychologists say 95% of the thoughts that you think today are the same as what you thought yesterday and the day before and the day before. And so we only have like a 5% conscious chance or choice, if you like, to make new decisions and therefore rewire your physical brain, which is the organ, to think differently. And then when we think differently, we see the world differently, and then our whole reality changes. It's incredible, really, and very exciting, because no matter how much pain we are in right now, no matter how much we feel we are stuck, so stuck in our ways with this eating disorder, because the fear is so paralyzing, we almost feel like we don't have a choice. You do have a choice. And so the conscious part of you, which is your mind, gets to choose and tell your brain how to respond and how to react. And then your brain does things automatically, which is why if you go to the mirror now, I'm assuming automatically your brain will go to thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm fat, I'm horrible. And you'll feel shame and unlovable and not good enough. And you'll feel all those feelings that you're probably so familiar with. That's an automatic reaction from your brain because it's been trained to think and feel and promote those feelings that way. So you can retrain your brain by using your mind, right? And so we need to run into the fear. So the fear of fullness, if you have a fear of fullness, you do everything to avoid facing that fear, eating like tiny little bits of food without eating proper meals, trying to get rid of the feeling of fullness in any way possible if it's so overwhelming for you, trying to like eat less food. Every action that you take that is running away from the fear of fullness is always going to be chasing you. Fear only works if you're running away from it. There's a difference between fear and danger. Danger is in the moment and you act in the present moment without much thought. It's just instant reaction, whereas fear is all in the mind. So what if you were to run towards your fear? Over time, your brain will be like, oh, she keeps running towards this thing that we used to do the opposite to, therefore it must be safe to feel full. And that's the hardest part, but that is what's going to get you out of this. So run into your fear and change your brain, meaning get yourself full, or you can start with baby steps, right? And now automatically you can't see, possibly I can't see myself on the video either, I'm touching my stomach and just like gently and lovingly rubbing my stomach. And that's how we can start to come back into the rest and digest and out of the fight, flight, or freeze response. We can start to like feel more physically relaxed, and then we can start to retrain our brain that fullness is no longer to be feared. And so every time before I used to eat, when I had this fear of fullness, I used to just sit for a few seconds and think to myself, right, this food that I'm going to eat is going to nourish my body. That was the same whether I was eating chocolate, a healthy meal, like anything, because every form of food is nourishment. That's why it's food. So before you eat, just remind yourself and reassure yourself that what you are going to eat is nourishing your mind, body, and soul. And then after you've eaten, take a few moments to sit and just put your hands on your soft stomach and your round stomach, because the whole point in eating food is so you actually get full, because that's the whole point. We're not supposed to eat and then still have a flat, empty stomach. We're supposed to eat to then be full, because that's the point in eating food, to nourish ourselves. So if you connect your stomach being full to you nourishing yourself and your body, which is essential for life and to thrive, it connects the fullness feeling to nutrition, nourishment, and thriving and taking care of yourself. So that's something that really helped me. And then notice the uncomfortable feelings that come up when you're holding your stomach and it does feel full and you still have this fear currently. This takes a conscious effort to just be with yourself through that, challenge all the thoughts that come up that are fear-based thoughts, and be okay. Like, say to yourself, it is okay, sweetheart. You're supposed to be full after you've eaten. Your tummy isn't supposed to be flat. That's all conditioning. Like, my tummy is whatever my tummy is. And just like calming and reassuring yourself. If you look at a puppy, like I'm excuse me, I'm more of a puppy person than a baby person, or even a baby, I'm sure has this. In fact, I'm pretty sure babies also have this. But I'm referring to a puppy right now because I've had dogs like most of my life. When a puppy is eaten and it like lies down, it's got this really big protruding full belly that is so cute, because I don't know why puppies have that and big dogs don't. I'm very unsure of that. But this just image just came to me. When the puppy eats, it's got this big full belly and it's so cute. How can you see the cuteness in you and your belly when you've just eaten? Like with babies, I need some water. Sorry, one sec. It's better. Like with babies, when they eat, they're not walking around trying to suck their tummy in. The babies are just being, they're just alive. They're in their body. They have no concept of self-image yet, which is why it's so amazing to be a baby, not like we can remember. And so just learn from animals and babies. Like, they eat and they just get on with their day. They're not constantly trying to hold their stomach in. It's a learned fear response that you've caught. It's like a virus from society that you've caught. Like, the fear of fatness is a virus that you've caught, and everyone's caught it, but it's not your truth. You were not born with the virus of that, the fear of fatness. So just see if you can make friends and make peace with your tummy every time you eat, because it doesn't mean anything about you. In fact, it's a good thing because you're nourishing yourself. And so if you want to do more advanced work, you can do more advanced mirror work around this. And this was very uncomfortable to me. It was very triggering, but I wanted to recover so desperately. So I did it. And that is to go to the mirror and blow your tummy out like Winnie the Pooh, and be with yourself in front of the mirror with your round tummy, with your hands on your tummy, and just breathe. And notice all the judgments that come up, like all the disgust, the thoughts, the feelings. Just notice them. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. Notice what comes up and practice looking. So purposely set time out to do this mirror work and go and do that and see your tummy be soft and round and natural in the mirror. Now, I had to start sitting down when I was doing this because for some weird reason, which I learned from my eating disorders, it was easier for me to blow my stomach out when I was sat down or lying down. Start with lying down. Like, start with lying down, then move to sitting, and then move to standing. Because for some weird reason, it was easier for me to accept when I was lying or sitting, other than when I was standing, probably because I'd looked at myself so many times trying to have a flat stomach in whatever I was wearing. So that is advanced mirror work, but I invite you to try that as well. And then I want to say that feeling physically uncomfortable is different to feeling emotionally uncomfortable. So physically uncomfortable, like being full, and I'm not, this question obviously is quite vague, and to reiterate the question, how to deal with the fear of fullness, especially going to bed full. This doesn't state whether it's like a fullness, like after a binge type fullness, or genuine, just general fullness. Like, so either or, it doesn't matter if you have that fear, but the physical feeling of feeling full might be uncomfortable for you physically. It's just the same as if you had a headache or if you had sore muscles. It's just a physical experience. If you had a headache, it doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean you're a failure or that you're unlovable. If you had sore muscles, it will probably be a good thing because you've worked your body and you're growing your muscle and whatever you make that mean, right? You've used your body's worked hard and it's getting stronger. It's always about what we make things mean. And so the physicality of the fullness is different to the emotional side of things. And so with the physical aspect of it, trust, and I say this word so much, and I've even wrote it in capitals in the notes that I've written down here, trust is everything. So if you practice trusting your body to do what it needs to do with the food, it knows what it's doing. And even if you've eaten past fullness, that's okay, because your body knows what to do with it. It's like if you get like hypothermia, is that a thing? If you get like super, super cold, your body will do everything it can to get you warm again, even though you've gone past the comfortable level of coldness for your body. And the same as if you're like really, really hot, your body will do everything it can to get you back to the temperature that you're comfortable being. And so trust that if you've eaten more than your body wanted, your body still knows what to do with that food. Like, trust that your body knows, because she does. So surrender and trust that. And then I want to talk about emotional discomfort now. So emotional discomfort around the feeling full is more so what's going on here with regards to this question, the fear of fullness. This is your beliefs and your perception of what fullness means. Like I say, there's a difference between being physically uncomfortable and emotionally uncomfortable. So this is like trauma release. This is energetic, emotional release work that needs to be done here. Mindset work as well. Again, it comes down to, what do you make fullness mean? And get the rushing doll and peel back the layers and figure out what's at the root of the cause of the feelings and the fear of fullness, and then heal it at its root. And most likely, again, I don't want to assume, but from my professional and personal experience, the fear of fullness at the very root is the fear of weight gain. It's because you don't like your body. And then, of course, underneath that is like not being worthy, not fully accepting who you are, not fully accepting your authentic body, because you make it mean something about you and you want to be desired and loved and admired. And who doesn't, right? But there's a difference between accepting and fully loving and unconditionally loving and accepting yourself and knowing you're enough, regardless of what your body looks like, other than trying to have your body as the be all and end all of who you are, and having your body as the way to get love and to feel safe. That's not a way to live. And if you're listening to this, I'm sure you know that it's not a great life to live, which is why you're here. And so we need to start detaching your self-worth from the way your body looks. And so when you feel the physical discomfort and the emotional discomfort of feeling full, I want you to just take care of yourself the way you would take care of a loved one, whether it's wearing baggier clothes for now until you can start to feel better physically, whether it's speaking to a friend, reaching out to me, getting help and support, looking at changing your beliefs around fullness and what fullness means to you. Breathe and relax and take care of yourself, and take the time to do the work to heal it at its root, to heal the fear, or to change, run into the fear, face the fear of the fear of weight gain. And we do this by doing a ton of body image work. And we look at the fear of weight gain, what that means and how it looks like for you in your individual life. It also has to do with the judgment of others, the fear of the judgment of others. And that's why in my programs, the Body Love Binge, I do a shit ton of body image work with my clients, because you cannot live in food freedom, true food freedom, without doing the body image work alongside of it, because it's all entangled and entwined together. Ultimately, the stakes are low. If you go to bed full, it may feel like the end of the world. It's really not the end of the world. And so there's so many layers here and everyone's different. So I hope that was also helpful. Any questions at any time, let me know. I will see you on the next episode, and I will see you in my private group, which is also free. If you haven't already, and no, I'm not going to talk about the free 5-day Body Love Binge, although that is free and that's coming in November. I have a free taste test. Like many of you probably have already got access to this, but if you haven't, it's on my website under free taste test, lol. And that's the first 3 modules and the free access to my paid online program, the Body Love Binge. And there's a free private membership in there as well. So I cannot wait to welcome you in there if that feels aligned for you and you want to start your journey to food freedom. All right, my love, sending you so much love. I will see you next time. Much love.